Hey guys, Canadian Zangief back again, and I've really been getting into the whole model building and everything like that for Dungeons and Dragons. You know, my interests seem to be all over the place. I know I'm doing Gundam, I'm doing video games, and now I'm doing models and miniatures and terrain and stuff like that. But whatever, it makes me happy, so I hope it makes you happy too. So I spent the last week and a couple days working on a more ambitious project. If you're following me on Facebook, you would have seen that I worked on a town fountain, and it was like a really beginner kind of model and or terrain, anyways. And it turned out really nice. You know, for years before I started doing this, I did a lot of Warhammer 40K miniatures, so I had a lot of miniature painting experience already. But you know, I haven't done much in quite a long time. I think I stopped doing it when I was like 25. You know, it seems like a million years ago now. But anyways, because it worked out so well, I was wanting to try a little bit more of an ambitious project, and I said, well, what could I really use? You know, for an upcoming campaign, I kind of wanted to do some kind of tower, like prison kind of thing. So I set out to make a tower, and here it is. Very happy the way it kind of turned out. Now all of these are individual blocks, it's not just cut out. You know, it's very happy the way this turned out. So it was, since it was such a long process, you know, it's not that it took a lot of time working on it per se, but there's a lot of work of it, letting things dry, work a bit, letting things dry. So it took over the course of 8 days, you know, maybe half an hour each time. So I'd say this, all in all, if you add the time together, it's maybe an 8-hour build. I had a really good time doing it, so the time was not an issue. I just kind of did it on the side after I got home from work, assembled a little bit, and went from there. That being said, because it was such a drawn out thing, I didn't actually make a video of it. I just took pictures of it. So I'm going to show the progress of the pictures as I went along. And if you want to try something like this, you know, it's, once you break it down, it's pretty simple. It's just the time. So hope you enjoy, and hope you like the tower. Okay, so I'm just going to, since it was just a long build, I'm just going to review my pictures as I'm going. So I started out, you know, very simple. I held on to a cardboard tube. I can't remember what I got it from, but anyway, I think it was a shipping tube or something for something I ordered in the mail, and some cheap little styrofoam sheets from Dollarama. So the beginning of this build basically cost nothing at all, which is what I'm looking for in any kind of project like this, where, you know, I'm not in for a lot of money. So first thing I did was use some Mod Podge. I'm using Mod Podge heavily in this build. It's like a superior white glue, basically. It's a sealer, glue, and finisher all in one kind of thing. I get it from Dollarama as well, like $1.25 per container of it, so it's super cheap and works great. The entire build, I used like 2.5 containers of it, you know, the small ounce bottles. So that's where a lot of the weight and time came from, was gluing and waiting for it to set and etc. Blah blah blah. Anyways, first thing I did was cut out little squares to do like the entryway, and glued it down to a platform. So I kind of had something in mind when I started with this. A lot of this I went on with just kind of winging it. I had sort of an idea, like a general idea, but most of it was just kind of as I went along. So what I did after I made the entry point, squared off. I was like, you know what, I don't want to just cut foam around and make slices and make it look like brick. I want to actually make brick. So I sliced a sheet into tiny strips and cut them off and basically just built it, like using the glue as like mortar, and just kind of built it all the way around. So you see here that I've already cut out an entryway on the front of it. And then I had like another good idea with this. I ended up taking out some toothpicks, and I noticed that the front of it, I had it, unbeknownst to me at the time when I did it, it was sticking out far enough, and I figured that I could use some toothpicks right through the top and make like bars, you know, for like a raising gate kind of thing. It turned out really nice, so I just pushed it through, trimmed off the top, and it was like a fantastic gate. So then I was thinking, well, if I did that for that, maybe I could do it for little windows through the top. So same thing again, glued it all in and made it really nice. And then it's just cementing it all together slowly but surely, and step by step, going all the way around, letting it dry, going all the way around, putting a top on. I had some trouble at first with what I was going to do for the tower, like the peak. At first I was trying to build like a steep, like a coned roof out of like some nail supports and wrapping some painter's tape around it just to kind of forge it to something to put bricks on top of it. I tried using cork, and it did not work well at all. The thing that worked the best in the end was I actually went back to the dollar store, picked up a cheap funnel set. You can't just buy one, of course it's like a pack of them, and just get some cardstock, and I cut it into little sheets and I just layered it around, and it turned out really, really nice. And then put it all together. I ended up screwing some nails into the front, and that was going to be like for flags, you know. I had some nails just sitting around in the basement, you know, whatever, screwed them in, or forced them in, you don't screw nails in, and it held really nice. Put some glue on it just to stabilize it, and they're pretty much done. And then I just it was primarily done at this point, so I just gray painted over the whole thing as a base coat. It already had so much Mod Podge all over it. It was already very stable, since it was cementing over top of each brick, in between each brick. Worked very nicely. So after that, then I just painted the rooftop brown with some contrast paints, and then just started doing some dry brushing on the stonework, and a black wash that I made myself, just with some black paint water and a couple drops of dish soap as a flow additive. It worked out really nicely. And then just adding some more dollar store cheap sand to the base to give it a little more contrast, and working on what I wanted to do out of the flags. Now the flags, I went over the dollar store limit on this just because I didn't have any ribbon on me. So I bought a spool of ribbon for $2. Hopefully I can get more use out of it for some other project. Cut out just little strips that I can kind of fold over top of the nails, cut some slits into it, and then Mod Podge over the whole thing to make it solid. Just painted it, put some more contrast paint after drawing some cheesy little skulls on it, and then painted the whole thing red. And that's pretty much it. Really happy the way this thing turned out. If you got some time and want to try some ambitious little projects like this, you could surprise yourself. I was very surprised how this turned out. Very pleased. as always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.